Hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. I don't even know where to begin because the more I sit with this storyline, the more it settles deep in my chest like something heavy I can't quite shake off. You know when a show stops feeling like just a show and starts feeling like you're watching people, make choices you're not sure they can come back from? That's exactly how I feel right now with General Hospital. I keep thinking about Britt Westbourne, and I swear, I feel like I've been walking right alongside her through all of this. At first, it seemed simple enough, simple in that complicated Port Charles kind of way. She wakes up, disoriented, vulnerable, and the only solid thing in front of her is Jason Morgan telling her what happened, telling her what to do. And let me tell you, when you trust someone like that, you don't question every detail, you hold on. You believe, you survive. But now, this is where it gets painful. Because the truth creeping in here, it's not just uncomfortable, it's devastating. When I realized that little Rocco Falconeri could be at the center of all this, I had to pause. I mean, really pause. I sat back and thought, this is not the kind of burden a child should ever carry. And suddenly, everything Jason did starts to look like a desperate man trying to hold back a tidal wave. Not a hero move, not a clean move, just a human one. The kind you make when there are no good options left. Still, my heart aches for Britt because she didn't just go along with a story, she took it on. She carried that weight, believing she was responsible for what happened to Ross Cullum. And all the while, the truth was sitting there, quiet but dangerous, waiting for the right moment to explode. And it will explode. I can feel it coming. What really gets under my skin is how Britt is going to find out it's not going to be gentle, not something she can sit with and process slowly. No, this feels like one of those moments where everything hits at once, your heart drops, your hands start shaking, and you realize the ground you've been standing on isn't solid at all. I can almost see her face, that mix of disbelief and fear, especially when it clicks that Cullum wasn't just investigating for the sake of it, he was getting close to something dangerous, something that could destroy lives. And then there's Cassius Faison. Now, listen, I've seen enough of his type to know trouble when it walks into the room. If he's the one who lets this slip or worse, throws it in Britt's face during a confrontation, I can just imagine the tension snapping like a dry twig. Him talking about secrets like they're just part of doing business, brushing it off with that cold attitude, and Britt standing there realizing she's been playing a game she didn't even know the rules to. And don't even get me started on what this means for Lulu Spencer. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Britt or Jason or even Cullum anymore. This is about a family, a mother and her child. And that kind of truth, it doesn't just stay between a few people. It spreads, it hurts, it changes everything it touches. What I find myself wrestling with the most is this question I can't quite answer. What would I do if I were Britt? Do you protect that child and keep the secret buried, even if it means living with a lie? Or do you tell the truth and risk tearing apart everyone involved? Because let me tell you something from the heart. There's no clean way out of this. None. And that's what makes this story so powerful to me. It's messy, it's emotional, and it feels so real, I almost forget I'm just watching from the outside. I catch myself talking to the screen sometimes, shaking my head, saying, sweetheart, think this through, like they can hear me. Right now, I feel like we're standing right on the edge of something big. The kind of turning point that doesn't just pass by, it leaves scars. And I'm holding my breath, wondering who's going to break first, who's going to protect, and who's going to finally say enough is enough. Because once Britt knows the truth, really knows it, there's no going back. I have to be honest with you, the more I sit and think about this whole situation, the more it lingers with me like one of those long, restless nights where your mind just won't settle down. This isn't just another twist on General Hospital. This feels like one of those storylines that quietly builds and then suddenly hits you right in the heart. I keep picturing Britt Westbourne in that moment when she decides she's not going to accept half answers anymore. There comes a point where you just know something is off, and no matter how uncomfortable it gets, you have to keep asking. That's where she is now. I can almost feel her energy, nervous but firm, scared but unwilling to step back. And the way she presses Cassius Faison, it's not anger driving her, it's something deeper. It's instinct. It's care. And when Cassius finally gives in, Oh, I can feel that moment like a crack in the air. Because hearing that Rocco Falconeri was the one who fired that shot, and that Cassius helped him get away while Jason Morgan stepped in to carry the blame, that's not just shocking, it's overwhelming. It's the kind of truth that rearranges everything inside you. I imagine Britt just standing there trying to hold on to something steady, but there's nothing left that feels solid anymore. And what really moves me, what really stays with me, is how quickly her fear shifts. It's not about her anymore, not about the lie, not about the risk she took. No, it all turns toward that child, toward Rocco. And I just sit there thinking, that's it, that's her heart right there. Because not everyone would react that way. Some people would panic for themselves first. But Britt, she goes straight to protecting someone else. I can almost see her asking no, needing Cassius to promise that Rocco will be safe. Not in some casual way, but in that quiet, urgent way where you're holding on to the only reassurance you can get. And something about that makes me both touched and uneasy at the same time. Because trusting Cassius with something this fragile, well, like folks say back home, that's a mighty thin branch to be standing on. And then there's Ross Cullum. Oh, he may be down for now, but the idea that he could wake up and start putting the pieces together, that sends a chill through me. Because if he figures out the truth, if he realizes Rocco is the one he's been searching for, this whole situation could explode in ways no one can control. Not Jason, not Britt, not even Cassius. What really weighs on me, though, is how Britt's view of Jason is going to change. I think about that a lot. At first, she followed him, trusted him, maybe even questioned him deep down. But now, knowing what he was really doing, I can feel that shift, that quiet understanding settling in, maybe even gratitude, the kind that doesn't need words. Because what he did, that wasn't just loyalty, that was sacrifice. But here's the part that feels so real to me. Understanding someone's choice doesn't take away the fear that comes with it. Britt can respect Jason, even feel closer to him because of this truth. But that won't stop her from worrying every second about what might happen next. I can just imagine her mind racing late at night, thinking about all the ways this could fall apart. Wondering if one wrong move, one loose word, could bring everything crashing down on Rocco. And now she's in this position where she has to rely on Cassius, someone she doesn't fully trust, to help protect that secret. That's the part that really gets under my skin. Because it's one thing to keep a secret. It's another thing entirely to put that responsibility in the hands of someone unpredictable. I find myself leaning forward, almost holding my breath, thinking about what Britt is going to do next. Will she try to take control of the situation? Will she stay quiet and protect Rocco at all costs? Or will the pressure become too much? Because this kind of secret, it doesn't sit still. It moves. It grows. It tests people. And right now, I feel like everyone involved is being tested in ways they never expected. And Britt Sweet, strong Britt, is standing right in the middle of it, trying to hold everything together with nothing but instinct, emotion, and a heart that refuses to turn away. And I'll tell you this, I don't think she's going to come out of this the same person. Oh, now this is where it gets really interesting, because once I let my mind wander a little beyond what we already know, I start to feel like this story is sitting on the edge of something even deeper, something that could change not just one or two lives, but everyone connected to it. I keep thinking about Britt Westbourne after that moment of truth settles in. Not right away, because at first it's shock, it's fear, it's that spinning feeling like the room isn't steady anymore. But later, when she's alone, when everything goes quiet, that's when the real storm begins. I can almost see her sitting there, replaying every detail in her mind, connecting pieces she didn't even realize were important before. And that's when something shifts in her. Not just fear anymore, but resolve. Because here's what I believe. Britt isn't just going to sit back and hope everything works out. No. She's going to start thinking ahead, carefully, quietly. The kind of thinking you do when you know one wrong move could cost someone everything. And I wouldn't be surprised, not one bit, if she starts putting together her own plan to protect Rocco Falconeri. Not just relying on Cassius Faison, because deep down, I don't think she fully trusts him. She may need him right now, but trust, That's something else entirely. I can see her watching him more closely, listening between his words, asking herself, is he really doing this for Rocco or for himself? And that thought alone, that's enough to make anyone uneasy. What really pulls me in is this idea that Britt might start stepping into a role she never expected. Protector, strategist, maybe even a little bit of a risk taker in her own right. Because when someone you care about is in danger, you don't always recognize yourself anymore. You do things you never thought you would. And I can feel that version of Britt starting to rise. At the same time, I can't shake this feeling about Jason Morgan. Oh, I think his role in this story is far from over. If anything, this revelation could bring him and Britt into a kind of unspoken understanding, not something loud or dramatic, but something quiet, steady, the kind where they don't need to explain themselves because they both know what it means to carry a burden for someone else. And I find myself wondering, what if Britt starts seeing Jason not just as someone she trusted, but as someone she now stands beside? That changes things. That creates a bond built on shared secrets and sacrifices. And let me tell you, bonds like that, they don't break easily.